Hey everyone, welcome to this Sunday's Dev Hangout with me, Simon Dean. I'm the project lead on Folktale. If you are new to the stream, then please follow us using the link below the video. Or if you're watching on YouTube, visit twitch.tv/GamesFoundry. We won't be doing a Steam Key giveaway this stream. We'll start doing those again at some point in the future once the audience has got a bit bigger. So sorry to those who came for the sole purpose to pick up a key. In today's Hangout, we'll be looking at a couple of newly implemented functions and features, including super sampling, which is a graphics fidelity boost for those players that have got a high-end graphics card. We will be looking at the atmospherics, the very sort of early look at the atmospheric system, which allows you to change the lighting settings and the soundtrack in your maps. And we'll also be taking a very early look at the snow kits, so the snow terrain and also the snow monastery kits. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of map creating, starting with a fairly small area. Just exploring some of the pieces that are available. I've only had a very quick glance at them, so this is going to be my first opportunity to really explore the kits and see what is possible at this stage. And it will also be great to hear your feedback and possible sort of props that you might like to see included in those kits. But to kick off the stream, I think we're going to jump into the swamp map that you guys are familiar with, and then we're going to enable super sampling and have a look at the quality differences. Now hopefully the stream quality is good enough that you'll be able to see the differences. Okay, let's have a look. Doc is hosting our stream, so thank you so much for hosting our stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by opening up one of the sandbox maps, so that we've designed using the swamp kit. Let me just see. So we want the swamp. Garong was saying, it sounds good. I like to see you struggling the first time with the kits. All right, let me just turn down the... I tell you what I'll do, actually. Let me just pause the music that was playing, because what we've done is we've added in atmospherics, and with that is the ability to choose which soundtrack theme that you want to pull from. So I'll just turn up the sound volume, so it's working this time. We fixed a bug that, if you remember in the last stream, changing the soundtrack volume wasn't working. We've now fixed that bug. I'm going to leave it down there about 20% at the moment. And let's just hide the settings. So at the moment we've got downsampling set to its default of 100%. And I'm just going to quickly build a couple of buildings just so that we've got something to look at and something to make a comparison with. I don't need to create a working village, so I will just dump down some fields. There's some wheat fields that the farmer uses to grow wheat and pumpkins and herbs and things like that.
Building completed.
Drop down a fisherman's hut, which we will place.
New villagers have arrived.
And a stonecutter's hut, so to access that, and we'll
Building
drop down,
completed.
and we'll also drop a smelt or the blacksmiths very quickly. Let's get some
Building
more huts.
completed.
So I'm doing this really quickly.
New villagers have arrived.
For now, and I'm cheating and giving myself loads of resources so that we can get something up and running. Oops, just destroy that.
We don't have enough wood to do that.
We do now. All right. Then our population should start to expand once these cottages come online.
Completed.
Yeah, we're getting a nice little booster from .got Game. Music's sounding a bit loud. Turn that down.
Building completed.
Okay, that might be a bit better. Sorry if that was blowing you away. Yeah, so one of the channels that I personally support, who I really like, is .got.game. So if you want to check out, he tends to play MMOs and like Elite Dangerous and things like that. Particularly likes Arcade, where he's a guild leader. So do pop along, check it out. I love his sense of humour, and he does some crazy stuff. So that's twitch.tv/.got.game. Thanks for hosting us, Doc.
New villagers have
Okay.
Building completed.
Let's see what settings we've got on. Let's just train a couple of people.
What now?
Train a fisherman. I don't think I put down a woodcutter, did I? Let's dump one of those down. And a hunter. I think I'll just train some hunters too. Can will it fit in there? It's not going to fit in there, is it? There we go. I'll plug that down there. Right, so to enable super sampling, first of all, what is super sampling and what is downsampling? So in the graphics settings, there's an option for downsampling, and what that does is it enables us to draw the game world at a much lower resolution than your native resolution, but it will keep the interface, the UI, at the same resolution as your native desktop. So what I'm doing is I'm going to drop down here to the lowest setting, which is 40% quality. Now you can see that's pretty grainy, pretty bad. It's really designed for low-end graphics cards. I wouldn't probably take it down to 40%, but it is definitely playable on something like 75%. And what that's doing is it's actually drawing the game world at slightly smaller than what you normally play at, and that basically helps keep the performance rate up and the frame rate up if you have a low-end machine. People with sort of medium machines, medium specification machines, will be able to play the game on full settings. But what we've just done for players that like to invest in their gaming gear and like the latest graphics cards is that we've enabled super sampling. So I'll just go back up to what the default is. Now, to access super sampling, for now, we've made it accessible via the console. So if you access that by holding Control, Shift, and the X key, and then just type in super sampling, okay, and that will actually enable super sampling as an option. So now when I go in, I can actually, we need to change the label because downsampling is not very accurate, but we can change it up to 200%. Now, I was running the game at 1080p, which is 1920 pixels across by 1080 pixels deep. I've just set super sampling to 200%, and what that's going to do is it's essentially going to draw the game world at 4K resolution and then resize it down to 1080p, which is what I was running at. And what that helps is it really helps the detail pop. And we'll do some comparisons. I'll drop down. Let's go and have a look at what's going off there, because that swamp beast is probably killing everybody.
New villagers have arrived.
Alright, we'll probably need to address him, otherwise take care of him, otherwise he's going to take us out. So let's get you and you. Oh, let's just get it. Bring everybody!
New villagers have arrived.
I think we can just there we go, that's it, I'll take care of him. Our little woodcutters. Right, sorry about that little distraction. So I wanted to say about the difference, and you can probably, so what we'll do, we'll just swap this to daytime. You'll probably notice it the most if you look at like the twigs on the trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure they're visible, and then I'm going to drop down sampling back to 100% in stages, and you'll start to see that the detail it starts to get a little bit lost. Okay, so there we're at 100%. We haven't got anti-aliasing on at the moment. I suppose I could turn that on. So, you know, it looks pretty good, but having super sampling really helps that pop, and I'll just turn it back on again up to 200%. Because it's rendering at 4K resolution, I can turn anti-aliasing off, because it's scaling it down. You sort of get anti-aliasing for free. yeah, Stonewall's saying it's well, it's saying retina support, but it's isn't it retina support? Strictly speaking, it's not really, is it? Because it's just a higher resolution. But anyway, we will be testing 4K at some point. We're probably going to have to implement UI scaling for it to run on 4K, but 4K is sort of crazy at the moment because you need such a big monitor. Like, I think a 32-inch monitor is like the minimum that you will need for it to actually look good. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm just talking rubbish. So anyway, yeah, that's super sampling. It just helps detail pop. I mean, if we look at the thatch, I'll just do it again from here. So you can see that we've got the cottage there. If I just turn that down to the normal resolution, there probably wasn't that much change in there, was there? Well, that's a 90%. Let's keep going all the way down to 40%. There you go. So 40%, and then just very quickly, you can see that with each increase, oops, I went too far there. Basically, the detail really pops. But be warned, you need like a high-powered graphics card for that. Okay. Let's see. Just a quick hello to Daddio66, Countess, and Iglethid. Thanks for joining us, guys. Now let's see. So that was super sampling. If you do enable it on lower end machines, chances are it's going to absolutely kill your frame rate. But it could even crash actually if you've got like a 512 megabytes graphic card. We've not really tested it on those, so hence why it's a console setting at the moment. But if you've got a gig card, graphics card, you should be fine. But just be aware that there is a performance cost. The setting that I've got on at the moment is drawing 4 times the number of pixels every frame. Okay, I'm going to jump across into the editor because this Dev Hangout is predominantly going to be about the editor. You guys should be very familiar with the player now. So for those of us that are joining us from other channels, normally in the sessions I'll play some of the latest builds, so I'll introduce any new features that we've added, maybe look at some of the new kits, and then I'll also spend some time answering questions from everybody that's watching. If they've got specific questions on how to use the editor, I try and answer those as well. So, excuse me, this is the sandbox player that we're looking at the moment, which is where you actually play, you'll play your sandbox games. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into the editor where we can actually create these levels. And when I say we, I mean we as the developers and the community. So the community is already creating maps that we ship with the game. Okay, so I'm just going to exit to desktop and then fire up the game again. And this time I'm going to go into the editor. And we made a number of changes and improvements to the editor this week, which I will take you through now. Okay. So some of you guys that were running at slightly lower resolutions, again, I'm running at 1920 by 1080 here, which is the most common resolution for people who play games according to the Steam hardware stats. Some of you guys were having problems with the inspector in that if it was docked, it became it took up a lot of the screen and it became very difficult to actually detach it other than docking it again. So what we've done is we've fixed that, and we've also finally added in the resize. So now we can keep that fairly small. I'll just load in a map actually so that we can, let's just see. Actually, I'm going to load in the Stinking Swamp because I need to choose one of the wave spawners. So let's just go over here, and you'll see now. Oh, I need to turn my camera off. There you go. So you can see the full screen. I can now dock it. Now we turned off docking to the top and bottom of the screen because that wasn't commonly used, but you can dock to the left and the right of the screen just by dragging. And then if you prefer it, you can have it really small. And then one of the other improvements that we've had, if you remember before, if you close the inspector down and then you selected an object, the inspector would pop up again, a bit like Microsoft's paperclip thing that was the bane of the world. So we've corrected that now, so that if you have turned off the inspector, it will stay hidden until you enable it. Sorry, that's stats. That's the inspector. Okay. So you can either leave it up. Let's close these down. You don't really want to see those just now. Now, the one thing that I wanted to show you about this is the what's going on there? That's not right. What's going on? Hang on. Something. Well, this is what you get for using dev builds. That was weird because that was working. What's going on? We've got multiple. Oh, things are going crazy. I'll tell you what, we're just going to just restart that because that's a bit crazy. This is the latest development build that I'm using. So typically in the streams we do encounter bugs. They usually get tested and then removed before we do a patch release. But you will see bugs in this stream. All right, so let me just try again. Let's just fire up the snow stream. Okay, this is what it should have shown. Don't quite know why it didn't before. We'll trace down that bug and find it. So, the atmospherics, which currently says environment, the music region allows you to select the theme. So if you're making a grasslands map, you'll want to play the grasslands music, swamp, snow, I don't know, creepy music for if you're making a crypt. So you can actually choose which music you want to play. Now, because this is a snow zone, I've set it to snow. The ambience, we are in the process of adding, if I just sort of zoom to the map. So far, you've just had the default lighting on from the grasslands, also showing in the swamp. So what we're in the process of doing is we're just implementing. You can see that the lighting is changing. And if I choose lava, and it will change the ambient settings, which they're not fully set at the moment. But we will be going through and setting both day and night time, and it should change all the water settings and everything like that. So you'll now be able to go to wasteland and winter, which is what we want. Cliff biome brings me to another significant change that we're going to implement. If you've been following the editors to date and been designing your own maps, you'll notice that in each of the biome kits, so the grasslands and swamp, and if you've had a look at it, the snow kit, so far we've been including things like the cliffs and grass pieces and hills in each one of those kits. Now that doesn't make sense, so what we're going to do, we're going to create a standard terrain kit which you will use for creating all terrain, because then you can paint terrain. These are the snow icons, we just haven't added them yet. Because you can paint terrain, it makes little sense to duplicate up all of the terrain tiles in each one of the biome kits. Now we will of course include code that will automatically migrate your maps when you open them. So if you have been creating swamp maps using the swamp terrain tiles, that's fine, it's not a problem. And when we do introduce this standard terrain kit, it will automatically migrate it for you and link to the correct tiles. I guess we've also got to think about painting and retaining the paint information and stuff like that. But we will test that. We recognise that a lot of community time has been put into designing maps so far, and we'll make sure that that is kept and that it doesn't break. So I'm just catching up on chat. Another thing that we do in the Dev Hangouts is we quite often feature community maps. And we'll have a little play with them, maybe make some critique and have a look at that. But what I want to do in this Hangout is I want to explore the snow kit. So we're going to start from scratch because that's part of my learning, learning process. So let's open up. We'll go ahead. I think what we'll do actually, we'll start with the grasslands kit because it's quite interesting to show you how like the standard terrain might work. So pretend we've just opened like a standard terrain kit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump down to some of the common cliff pieces. So to insert the pieces, I'm just going to double left click. That's interesting. So I guess it's because I have a swamp map open, not a swamp, a snow map open before. I am presuming that the, yeah, it is. It's still set. Actually, I'll show you here. So if I change the cliff biome to grasslands, you see it's changed. Let me zoom in there. It's changed it to grass, and then if I changed it to swamp, it'll put the swamp texture in there, the snow texture, and desert. Although there's no desert kit at the moment. So let's stay in grasslands, and I will change that in a short while. Actually, it looks like there's quite a lot of fog on that, so let's change it now. Let's change the ambience to grasslands, which is the default. Okay, so that was the. Oh, we need the inspector open now. That was the concave piece. I'm just going to go through the kit and drop in common pieces that that I need. Okay, so I'm just looking down at the names. It's interesting because where's the there it is. There's a convex piece. All right. Oops. Okay, so they're the basics of bends and corners, and then I want some straight pieces. So I'm looking for CLF is cliff. I'm looking for STR for straight, and I want the full pieces. So here we go. We've got 2 full pieces. I'll just insert both and rotate them round. Just move that one there. Okay. And I usually start in the same way. Now I want a flat piece of land, so I'm looking for a tile that's called GND base, GND for ground. And base just because it's like a base tile onto which we paint stuff. I'm going to duplicate that very quickly, and then I'm going to go into speed mode. So if you guys have got questions, then please do ask, and I will try my best to answer them. So what we'll do, we'll actually put in a little bit of a larger area this time. Now there are some different cliffs as well in the snow kit, which are ice cliffs, and they are specific to the snow zone. So I will have to go into that kit to get access to those. All right, so let's just duplicate those up and start to close down. Close the. We'll call it, let's say we're creating a circle. Okay, so I want that piece. And a lot of the learning curve to the editor is, as I've said before, it's about learning the pieces and how they fit together. Okay, so grab that piece and that piece, rotate it around. I guess this is like speed level design. Now, I must keep remembering to look at the chat channel in case the channel any questions pop up. But hopefully you guys have followed what I'm doing so far. I want to put some water in, so I also want to put a waterfall in, so let's delete that one there. We'll go down to the water. Is it cliff, I think, actually? Sorry for the zooming, scrolling through quickly. There we go, water, cliff, waterfall, full. I always like to start off when I'm testing a kit with a sort of a closed off little enclave, and then grow it from there. Okay, so I just want to put that one in there, and that one in there. And then I'm just duplicating up some of the ground. Looks all a bit dirty and muddy at the moment. Now I want to put in some river banks. So let's choose the straight piece. And another straight piece. And then we want a corner piece. And I should really think about saving soon. We'll put in a little, let's put in another straight piece. Bend it back round. And I'll put a bridge over that part there. And okay. Right. Let's save that, and let's call this dev map Snow Lake, let's call it. Okay, well, it's all mud at the moment, so let's lock the tiles. Go to the paint tool, and I just want to test something actually. So these aren't the latest icons, but I know this one should be snow. Holding down the U key. Yeah, and I can paint. That's interesting. Why can't I paint on that one there? Okay, what's so special about that tile then? Ah, okay, I had a duplicate there. Alright, so it's a good indication that you've got a problem if you can't paint something like that. Okay. There we go. Now then, let me just check if we fixed a bug. We have. Okay. If you have watched previous Hangouts, you'll notice that the brush size, the paint brush size kept on going up. And what it was is that we'd mapped the square bracket keys, which are actually object rotation, and it was also updating the brush size. So we've now turned that off. So it will always be 1. So that's another minor bug that we've fixed. Okay, I don't really want the mud. So I'm just going to sort of speed paint all of this, and let's get it looking much more like our snow zone. All right. There we go. And then what we can do, I'll just, actually the first thing we'll do, let's change this now. So we want winter, and we want it. Now you see, the reason why you want to set the cliff biome is, so it'll default to grass, but that doesn't look right. So you need to then change it to say, right, I actually want you to use the snow variations of the cliffs. Alfox was saying that I think we've also fixed large brush sizes, which I will test as well, so that you should be able to now paint with larger brush sizes, but we'll test that out. Okay, so that's great. I think what I'd like to do is, I think it'd look, well, let's save it. Yep, and let's try increasing the brush size to 2, and we'll paint in some ice. Yes, all right. Now this is a very early look at the swamp kit, so we haven't done like the blend yet. Well, we have done it, but it's not. We need to make some changes to make it work properly. but this transition will look a lot better. Okay. Now I suppose I could increase that to 4 and hold down U, and it'll paint a much bigger area. And I'll just swap back to snow because I don't actually want that. But I prefer sticking at 1, personally. And let's maybe just sort of, let's say there's like an ice lake there. And I want a road, so I'm going to hold down the K key. No, I'm not. First thing I'm going to do is lock the train, and then I'm going to hold down the P key, and I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw the road coming in at that angle, and then I want it to come to about there, and then I want it to curve a little bit. All right, good. And then we'll have it coming. Hold down the K key again. Oops. Oh no, it's not the K key, is it? I keep on saying that. It's the P key because it was changed. So you click, and let's say we want it to come down here. I don't like that, so I'm going to hold down the K key, select it, and hit delete. And I'm just going to go and draw that again. So I want that to come around here and like that. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is I want to pull up the snow kit. Now there are no icons at the moment on this because I haven't made them. So I'm going to be guessing a little bit. We've got a cave, so let's have that dumped in there. Now there should be an entrance somewhere. Yep, there it is. So let's just move that little fella there. The bushes, I believe, should have snow on, but I need a texture update. I need to pull the latest version. Excuse me. Actually, it's not the latest version, but I need to get an updated texture anyway, because these things have got snow on it. Let's go and get trees, actually. Tree, here we go. Tree, pine. So what I'll do is I'll just drop all of the pine trees in that we've got, and then I know what we're working with. So a wagon in there as well. And what we'll be doing is we'll be introducing props. If I just zoomed in down on this, we'll be introducing props that have already got snow on, so it blends much more nicely into the terrain. Okay, we got some other trees. No, perhaps not. But what we have got is we've got some snow rocks, which we'll have those in there as well. And that's the large rock which we've already got. The ice chunks I will come to later. The cliffs will be removed, and we've got various alphas. What we can do, another thing that we're going to be adding, which I'll add now, is we'll be adding particle effects. So this is meant to be like a windy, blustery, snowy scene. So we'll be adding ambient sounds that sound like that, but also what we'll be doing is little systems like this. Now if I can get in the right place, I suppose I'll just have to hold the screen there. Let's drop down. Hopefully you guys can see that. So it's like the wind blowing dry snow and little. So we'll be adding more of those. So think about these things in like the desert. And I'll just sort of liberally go around. Okay, so now if I go down. L34D is asking, can you delete these roads later on? You can delete, yes you can. There are keyboard shortcuts in both the player and in the editor So I think if you hold down the K key and then left click on the path, you can hit the backspace and that will delete the path, just like I did earlier. We will eventually add in some UI to the game to make the whole road system more intuitive and usable. Now what I want, I will just say, I need to save this regularly because there are some pieces that don't work at the moment. So I'll just save that. I want like a snowdrift, alpha snow. I think that's probably it, isn't it? No, that's flat. Okay, is there? Yes. All right. Here we go. Although that seems to be transparent at the moment, which is not correct. Okay, that's not quite right. So let's just delete that. I think they might be reusing the wrong shader, but it's really to be able to do snowdrifts and things like that. I suppose what we could do is if we just jump across into the grasslands kit, and then we can use some of the softer kits. So let's see. I'm trying to think, is hills the right ones to do it with? I think they are. Yeah, they are. Okay. What I will do is I'll just sort of do this over here and then group it together and move it. Oh, they're the half pieces. I don't actually want the half pieces. Oops, have I locked it? I have half hill. I don't want those. We've got quarter hills. I thought we had quarter. There we do. There we go. I want the really soft. Now you've got to be careful with what I'm about to do because it can be hit or miss as to whether it works in terms of the nav mesh. So just be mindful of that and test it. So I'm just going to paste those up. These are a very gentle hill. So I'm going to group those together. I'm going to delete that there, rotate these around. Actually, that was the wrong thing to delete, wasn't it? Or was it? Oh, I need to make this a little bit bigger. No, I need a ramp. So I need, is that the right piece of that quarter? Yeah, I need a quarter piece. And I better grab the flat ground piece and just build up. Oops. That piece there, that piece there. Lock the tiles, move into paint, select snow, blah, 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 blah. Unlock that, and then I can select all those, regroup. All right, a little bit of a waste, but you get the idea. There are other props to sort of achieve that, but then what we've got a nice little sort of incline going into the cliffs, and then we can duplicate up some of the trees. Rotate that, maybe grab another one, move it down, rotate it round, scale it slightly, and one more, rotate it round. All right. So being winter, I guess what I will do is let's just grab these trees, we'll group those together, we'll duplicate them using the arrow keys, I'll rotate them round. Duplicate again. I mean, you would. I'm cutting corners here, just for the sake of brevity. Let's ungroup that. Let's select the individual ones. Add a little bit of variation, maybe a little bit of scale difference. just on the waterfall. Somebody mentioned. Maybe scale that down. It's a shame I don't really have the snow texture, because I think I could add in quite a lot of snow plants. Let's just duplicate that. Move that over. I don't suppose we'd have any on ice, would we? So let's try and keep that. So we'll be bringing over the bridges and things like that, but that is not what I want for now. All right, so that's okay. I guess we need some default bridge in there. So I don't know if there's one in the snow kit at the moment. Let's go and have a look. No, there aren't, because I'm looking for bridge. So what we will do, I mean, normally you would use the bridge out of the snow kit, but in this instance, because it would have settled snow on it, but in this instance we'll settle for the one out of the grasslands kit just to make it functional. So I want B for bridge. All right, and we'll dump that one in. I don't think we can. Oh, we can free rotate. Okay, let's check that it's fairly evenly spread. Yep, it is. And I think it would be nice. Let's just ungroup those. If we plonked in a fishing spot, so I'll just go to systems and we will drop in a work point fishing river. This is actually a double one, so we can move that there. We want the blue point because that's where the fish are, and then the green cylinders are where our fishermen will actually go. Tell you what, we'll have a couple of those. That's not quite in the middle, is it? So it's probably better there. Just rotate it around a little bit. So that just specifies like where a resource is. I'm not going to plant a mine or a quarry in this because I don't think the textures will be the latest one, so it might look a little bit strange. Sorry. So I'm just going to save again. And I think we need some more detail. So, right, I think now what we'll do, let's have a look in the Swamp Monastery. Now this is going to be difficult without icons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a number of pieces in to the world and to see what we've got to work with. Okay. So we've got some, and then presumably we've got some walls, have we? Yeah. Now I know some of these pieces definitely don't work, so I am regularly going to save in between inserting these. So wall, tall, plane. All right, so we've got that, and let's have a look. We've got that. Just check I can actually select all these things. Yes, I can. So we've got a couple of wall pieces, wall slant. All right, so we've got slanting versions of those. And we've got like an end piece. And what this is, if you remember from the tutorial, there is the Snow Monastery, and this kit has been produced from that prop, but made into a modular format that snaps together. So that was slant B, that's A, half plane, so we've got a little one, that one, that one, and that one. That seems a pretty good place to save. Hey, the Q-chan. Thanks for joining us again. Okay, let's keep going, see what else we've got. We kind of need floors, really, don't we, now? So let's go and Well, the trim actually we will need. So let's get all the trim pieces out. Trim 2. Trim 1. Now, if you've played around with the Swamp Ruins kit, you'll be familiar with the format of these. So we've got walls, we've got pieces of trim for sort of making the corners look more interesting, corners and edges. We've got some stairs. And these are sort of like your standard building parts, and then the snow kit will have some more unique looking pieces, which I'm sure we'll come to. So stairs straight, I think we've added that. Yes, we did. Roof trims, right. Alright. And all of this should snap together, so we want... Alright, so there we've got a bit of the roof. If I zoom in, you might sort of recognise... Was that different to that piece, or was it the same? It's the same. Got 2x1. And I'm sure there are some end pieces somewhere half corner. Yep, okay. So these should all snap together. That might be a slightly different route. So I'm going to have to go through the learning curve myself here and look which pieces are designed to go together. But I'm sure by the end of it we'll have, you know, something that looks like let's see, I'll move down. Yeah, let's plonk that down there. Move it along. I don't know, we might need a couple of pieces of that. I suppose what would be really useful at this point is to be able to actually get in some walls. So I'll grab, let's grab that piece. All right, and duplicate that up. So let's make a really, might have to extend it a little bit. Let's rotate that round. I should probably position this a little bit better, shouldn't I? Because I'm probably not best to work with trees in the way. Where are we going to put this? Should we? What if we rotate that round and let's say we block off this sort of area over here? Daddy, no, there wasn't an update. This is very much a work in progress of the snow kit. It's the first time I've looked at it myself. Hence why I'm going through the learning curve. I probably want some stairs. What we need is some floor, don't we? We need some floor. Fence. Oh, there's a fence, right? Okay, floor 2x2. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So we've got some floor now, and then I suppose what I want. Just let's get down here and grab these stairs. Rotate them round because I only want. Now there are a number of pieces still missing from the kit. So if you remember in the tutorial, we had sort of like dangling, burning. What do you call them? Braziers? No, braziers? Braziers? I don't know how you say it. Braziers, I think. Not brazier. Which is something very different. Okay. Let's flip that in there. I don't know, it might look alright like that. Actually, let's move it over because it looks like we need a little bit of symmetry. One more. More. And where was that with the wall? That was actually let's use these sloping pieces. if you want to have a better idea of where I'm going with this, then just pop into the tutorial and look at the snow zone. Excuse me. Aethron's asking, is there a rough estimate for when the final product of Folktale will be released? We don't tend to provide forward-looking dates. Obviously, we've got our internal project plans and we've got a timeline that that indicates, but that gets us to a certain stage of completion. But it might not necessarily, when we get to that point, we might go, okay, so this mechanic doesn't feel quite right. I'd like to change this bit, make this bit better, or this piece of content is just really wants to be put in. And we want to be able to put those pieces in. You know, we're investing a significant chunk of our lives into this project, and we want it to be the best that it can possibly be. So we don't want to just release it half-assed, and that's one of the reasons why we don't provide release dates. But what we do is try and be as transparent as possible and provide as much information as possible, so that for those folks who do support us during early access, can be confident that the project is progressing well and that the game will be delivered. So hopefully that answers that question. Alright, this is a mess at the moment, isn't it? Which is how, you know, a lot of maps start off, and I'm, you know, even our dev maps look a little bit suspect. Alright, let's bring this back down. Did I bring that in there? I suppose I need to do that extra piece in there. For some reason that's not quite lining up properly. Oh, I guess it's because I skipped the middle bit, didn't I? Was that meant to be there? What is that? Oh no, that's the wall. Okay, I guess that can... Oh, that's a different piece that goes somewhere else. I'll just leave that there for now. I guess we'll delete that and that. Do we need that piece? I don't think we need that piece at the moment. Do we have doors? Let's have a look. Detail support. It doesn't appear that we've got doors at the moment, which is going to... so what I need to do then is I guess I need to put some sort of archway in or something. So maybe we'll delete that piece. And I've built this too high up, haven't I? Typical. Let's just look at that. Okay. These trim pieces should go. I'll just rotate that round. Just there. Did I move all that down? Didn't seem to move down, did it? Oh, I didn't have them selected, I don't think. There we go. Okay. Now these pieces. Of course. That's going to be an interesting one. It doesn't quite work there, does it? Okay, now there should be a corner piece. Oops. Rotate that round. And then finish that off. Now there should be a corner somewhere, which I could make out of these sort of sloping blocks. I don't know if I can rotate that. Yes, I can. I'll have to find the corner piece later, but let's save. Sorry, just let me quit Skype on this. Okay. So, how we're looking, all right, we've got these corner pillars. These are what I really need to move in because it looks a bit weird with no supports. Let's move those down. Alrighty. I think what I'll do is I'll just clean this up and then let's drop into it in the player just to see how it's looking. What we do need is we need some people, so we'll just drop down and put in some human characters. Human. One female and one male. And save. And then we'll just quick out and I'll very quickly fire up into Sandbox Player, where we can open up our level. Ethrian's asking, I suppose the continuation of Folktale is very much determined on the community too, at least from what I've seen. Would Games Foundry be open to incorporating community projects and works, items, more kits and in-game mechanics in the final product? Right, so certainly in terms of world creation, besides the world that we will be, the fully scripted world that we will be shipping with the game, we will also be providing something we're calling share services, which is something like Steam Workshop. It's incorporated into the game so that once you've played through our world, if you are purely interested in playing, you can download somebody else's world and play that for a completely different play experience. Or you can go in and actually create your own worlds and download locations that other people have created, customize your characters, set up unique characters. But yeah, it's very much the longevity is going to be driven by the community. It's why we've put a lot of time and effort into creating Sandbox and creating all of the editors, because otherwise we would just be left with a linear campaign story that, you know, you would play through it and then once you'd consumed all the content, you'd be like, oh well, there you go, put it on the shelf. I've been there, done that. Whereas by being able to download completely different worlds that have been created by the community, then that increases the replayability aspect of the game. We're also structuring a lot of the data and information about the game in files that will be accessible to modders, and eventually will be, well, we're reviewing whether we will put in support for Lua or some other mechanic. But yeah, we're definitely open-minded about that. It's probably a little bit too early to say which direction we're going in at the moment, but we're just trying to put as much of the framework in place to keep our options open. Okay. So we've got super sampling turned on. It's remembered the setting that we had before. We are down in night time, so let's actually go ahead and construct. Let's have a little cottage. I don't know if we can build it there. There we go. So they'll run over our bridge. I didn't put any campfires down or anything like that, so it's night time and not much in the way of lighting at the moment.
Building completed.
Okay, so now we've built a cottage, we should start getting some extra folk. Let's put a...
New villagers have arrived.
Put a monastery down. We're sort of limited by space quite a lot. I've got no space, have I? I should really have factored that in. I've got nowhere to build. Oh, there we go. We'll build on the path. Excuse me.
New villagers have arrived.
So, I mean, I didn't build this map with construction in mind, so let's see, we want some bees. So we'll plonk down a bee yard.
Building completed. New villagers have arrived. Building completed.
One thing we've been working on actually that I don't know how accessible it is at the moment is we've put in support for city-wide and building-wide buffs. So in terms of research, some of the things that you might research might give you increased production of a resource, or they might be things like prayers. So at the monastery, your villagers have a need for faith, so they will occasionally go and pray. And when they pray, they generate prayers, and then prayers will be able to be spent. I don't think it's going to be accessible here. It's not. But prayers can be spent on miracles, and miracles are citywide buffs that last for a certain duration. So, for example, Bountiful Harvest might increase the yield of all your agricultural things, like, say, your farmers' fields and things like that.
Yep.
So I'll train a monk. I don't know if we've got room for... Let's delete this and see if we've got a smelt, because I want to take a look at that smelt. It's probably a bug that I can open that at the moment, but yeah, okay. I know that's... hang on. Research. Alright, so if I... if I go down, so we've got some research here like hardening and sharpening, and I think they changed the hardening. I think we don't have durability, so what does hardening do? I'm gonna have to look on the website. Sharpening, though, I think increases the damage on all of your crafted weapons, so any item that is crafted will have a bonus applied to it. The smell's probably not the best one. Prospecting, I think, increases the yield for miners, so that you end up getting more.
We don't have enough gold to do that.
Oh, it's because, yeah, there's nowhere to mine, and we need research points before we can unlock the research, so, okay. But anyway, because research is in now, because you needed it for crafting, so, except I'm going to find... Aaron, is there any way that I can give myself research points in the console? I'm just trying to think so I can show you some of the crafting. I don't know if I can give myself prayers at the moment. No, okay. Not to worry. So anyway, we've got a very, very early start of snow zone at night time. So I can just kick it back into daytime. And you'll see that because we chose the snow ambient settings, the sky color is set up to something that looks appropriate. So, you know, we can, once we've added the lava zone, it'll be sort of a deep red. And everything that you saw in the tutorial as you moved between the regions is incorporated and will be incorporated into Sandbox. So at the moment, I don't think the water's tied up, but we'll probably go with a more blue colour for water in the snow zone. And then in the swamp zone, we'll probably go with a bit more of a sort of a milky, yellowy green colour, or sort of maybe like an ooze colour. So hopefully that should start to make it look better. And you'll also notice that we're listening to the snow soundtrack. So in the next patch, we'll be shipping the all of the grasslands tracks. I think they might have shipped last patch, but all of the snow tracks and all of the swamp tracks. I think we should be in a state to be able to ship the updated version of the snow kits. So pretty much what you're seeing here, but with, you know, some improvements and new props and things like that all sorted out, so that you'll be able to start playing around, messing around, and getting some ideas for the snow kits as well. In terms of monsters for the snow zone, we've already got a number that are modelled and textured, but they're waiting to go into animation. So one of the factions that you'll encounter in the snow zones is Jack Frost, who is like a boss, and then he has minions. So we've got a frost giant, but it's not, that ended up being slightly different to the vision that I had in mind. So it's more of, I would say it's more of like a frost golem than a frost giant. So but anyway, there's those in there, and we've got Yeti as well. And work was started this week on the revised Werfu monks. So in terms of the Snow Monastery, this is the sort of the very early start of the Snow Monastery kits, that will be the home of the Werfu monks, and we are redoing the Werfu monks that were in the tutorial, but also adding to them. So they're much like the Toadkin race that we revealed in the last dev blogs. There will be sort of like a society that we will expand upon. And then, of course, there are loot items, because you're going to want loot and gear that reflects the monsters and the zone that you're in. So it's no good. It's no good as dropping like a Mayan jungle stroke swamp sword in this area. So in the chests and as quest items, you're going to want items that are specific to Jack Frost and the Yeti and the Werfu monks and things like that. So there are all of those loot items to start with, and then of course the weapons, because the weapons do change in their hands.
Bless you.
If I just quickly cheat one of everything, that will add one of every item that's currently in the game into my inventory. And then if we give, let's filter by, whoops, weapon type, pull up his character sheet. At the moment he's got the standard staff. Let's give him something like Staff of the Dead.
How can I be of service?
And then this gives him some special abilities. So I think we can, oh, that was electrocute, sorry. And I think there's like a testament, firestorm as well. So it'd be nice if we did cast that. If it was thatched, maybe it sets on fire. That'd be kind of cool. Ooh, it was casting animation doesn't work. But you see that the need correcting, because the need rotating 180 degrees and the pivot's changing. But when we change the loot that's in the hand, it actually changes on the character as well. And some magic items may have, you know, like glowing weapons, fire weapons, that sort of thing.
My pleasure.
Right, his hair still needs tinting. So when you see things like this is obviously a bug. It's because we haven't set up the hair correctly, so it's not tintable. So you end up with this sort of like two-tone hair, which just looks weird. Christ, we've got some ugly peasants.
On my way.
Yes, my dear. All right, dear. Right away.
Okay, all right, at least you've got proper hair. Right, so what do I want to do to sort of mess around with this? I didn't really do much with the ice. Oh, right, I know what we haven't looked at. We haven't looked at all the ice sort of... Yeah, I know what we can do now. All right, I'm going to quit this and jump back into the editor, because there are all sorts of props that we've not looked at yet for the snow zone. Actually, yeah, there's loads thinking about it. There's all the ice columns and everything. Alright, so let's pull up, I think it's a swamp. No, snow, that's what we want. Okay. We want ice columns. Ice chunks. Alright. So what we've got these ice columns. So what we'll do is let's actually, where are we here? Let's move over here and we'll start like a new zone. Oh, I can't really do that, can I? I have to move that there. Follow the river. Alright, so I want cliffs. Cliff. No, that's the normal one, so maybe it's under ice. Yeah. I'll show you one of these quickly. Excuse me. At the moment, these aren't paintable. They're crevices, so if you I just zoom down, you get the idea that you're looking down. Now, we're breaking these up into individual tiles so that you can sort of design the cracks as you want them. Yeah, Half-Fox, I'm watching chat. It's just, I'm not going to... one of everything didn't give me research points. Yeah, so we're in the process of breaking these up, and then you'll be able to actually place the crevices around to give you some nice cracks in the ice. We've got... Let's just dump out a lot of these... So what we can do, I know what we'll do here actually. Let's... Now some of these should be walkable on, so you can actually... I mean, you could actually have them quite high up. And then like... Oops. If you actually make them pop up to about there, I think it is, then characters will actually be able to walk off and onto it, so you can have a whole sort of raised ice section. I'll just sort of quickly show you with these pieces. So I think it takes certain pieces to snap together, but imagine we're down here. You could be down in the gully, or you could be up on the top. But these pieces are also designed for the water areas. So if you actually want, when the water's correctly coloured, that is. But if you want some sort of icebergs, I think that's probably not the right place for it. I'd want a wider river than that, which I'd have to put in. But there are icebergs in there. Let's go. That's medium, large. I think we just put in there. That's another large one. And you can stagger the heights on these, I believe, a little, ever so slightly, and then you'll still be able to walk along them. Ice chunks, medium. I think I've sort of done these. So you could have a little. I'm not saying that that would work as it is, but you could have like little steps done that way. Ice corner. That's a bit. Ah, no, that's in. Ah, right. Okay. So then this is stacked, which suggests that it's a walkable piece. So if I was to put that there, yeah. Okay. Right. So the snapped pieces are the ones that you'll presumably be able to walk on. So I presume there are other pieces. That was a corner. Ice straight sounds like a piece that you would walk on. Yeah, that's it there, isn't it? Look, so that's what if I move that there. Now that's a straight piece, so if I duplicate it and move it over, there. So it's like a wall of ice. Yeah, the crevices, I suppose you put some water planes in as well if you wanted sort of like deeper water. I think that would look pretty interesting. Ice walls, we'll play around with that later on. I don't know, it's interesting sort of ice features coming out of the walls. I guess this would be more of a blend into more of an ice zone, and the ice zone is really how we see Jack Frost's domain. He'll have an ice throne in sort of like an ice crystal cave, I suppose. Wouldn't it be a cave? Let's keep going because I know there are. All right, so we've got the ice pieces. Ice crossroads, right? So that'll be a crossroads. Right. Let's get a flat piece. Actually, that's the wrong piece to put there. I can scale these things. Oops, change the height. I think I'd need some, I'd need a fair amount of time, but you get the idea of where that is going. Let's put down, we need, actually no, we don't want a flat piece there, do we? Want that piece there. Oops, duplicate, move up. Let's grab some trees. You, and you. Group, duplicate, move up, move along. And I can rotate them. Group, maybe scale those up a bit. Alright, so it's already starting to look a bit better. What we might want to do is create, if possible, I wonder if we can get our road to come through there. Oh, it's a little bit tight. I don't think we can do that. Oh, well, it did let us. Of course, we didn't have much room to build on, did we? I suppose I could open some bits up. So expect some frozen props. Yeah, I suppose you could do like a glacier, something like that. The crevices we've all sort of covered. The alpha snow and stuff we've covered. Okay. I think what I need to do is I need some time to explore this to get this looking right, and I need the additional props, and then we'll be able to get quite a nice looking snow temple, get the Werfu monks in there when they're finished. Let's grab some of this sort of blowing ice. Not blowing ice, is it? It's blowing. Make it feel nice and cold. You know, would also like to add some snow, so we can define areas on our map where like a snow downpour might happen. We'll have some sort of windy gale, so it'll help you feel like you're there. I guess what we'll do now is we'll save. And let's jump over into Sandbox Player. And let's just open the map that we were creating.
Yup, my pleasure.
What I probably want to do is I probably want to come down this side, didn't I?
On my way.
Right away.
Ta-ta. Really? Okay. My
All
pleasure.
of these should be set up with nav,
my way.
nav mesh
Okay.
cuts. Yeah, so I can
A woman's work is never
make
done.
like a maze,
Be right there,
a
darling.
nice maze. Be a cool little
Really?
idea. Mazes are a little bit dodgy in computer games because the pathfinding's so good that, you know, I could say, I will go and find your way
All right, dear.
through there, and they just instantly solve the maze. So you got to be careful with mazes. I think if you're going to put traps down, that gives a reason for the player not to just say, oh well, here's my guys at the start of the maze, click on the end of the maze, and they'll just route through. Because if you put traps in, then they won't do that, because they'll know that chances are that their folks will die. Alright, so how's this look at night time? Let's have a look. Let's swap into night time. I need some roadsides down, road signs. We need some snowy grass, so we need to add that texture in there, because at the moment you'll see that there's no grass. We need... now there are fences, aren't there? I think the fences might well have snow on. But anyway, it's a very, very early look at the snow zone. I do anticipate that we'll be shipping this in the next patch so that you can start playing around and designing maps for it. Characters may take a little bit longer because I want to get... at the moment, the programming team are focused on gameplay, aspects of gameplay. So we talked about the buffs that are required, the citywide and building-wide buffs that are required. That is part of the research system, and research is a precursor to crafting. So we do have crafting in there. In fact, I mean, I did cover this, I believe, in the last Hangout, but I will just do that now. I will cheat, give myself... I don't think there's any way to get research, though. Maybe one research is enough. I want to make armor. So what I could do under production is I could divert all production into research, and that would give me research points. But I'm hoping that I can actually unlock, because it's added some research just 1 point in. No, it's not giving me any research yet. I guess it's not built.
Building completed.
Bragamir is asking, can you throw someone from the wall of ice? No, you can't, although we have been discussing sort of reaction animations, so that if you were to unleash like a power attack, like a overhead slam attack, we've been exploring ways of possible ways that we might be able to handle that, so that you could, you could do like a power attack and they end up flying off the top of a cliff and landing on the bottom, possibly. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen because we've got some R&D work to do on
All
that.
right, my love.
And it's obviously not a priority at the moment while we're focused on core gameplay mechanics. Alright, that's weird. For some reason I can't get... I've just built the wrong thing, haven't I? I've built the woodcutter's hut. Alright, let's delete that. Might help if I build the correct thing. Smelt. Bragomir, what the community choose to create is entirely up to them. We won't be doing that ourselves.
Building completed. What now?
I don't know why I'm going to train them.
Make your mind up.
But what we actually wanted was the research. That's weird. Oh, it's giving me all of the research. Right, okay. So crafting wise, let's create some armor. So let's... oh, I don't seem to have got... Can I craft these yet? I don't know. That might not have... Okay. Let's craft some of the gear. Give ourselves a full set of the plate. If I pull up our global inventory... Oh, well, of course I've already got everything, haven't I? I have a feeling it's going... One of these is going to say 2, so... That one might increment to 2, or it might add it here. Yeah, so it's added it in already. And then the idea is we'd have... it would be limited to the city watch, but you can, you can equip all this gear and it changes attributes. You get the idea. But as I was saying, so research, I can't show you unfortunately on this map, but research feeds into, unlocks crafting recipes as well as buffs. So that is there in most of the icons are made for that, so that is a mechanic that hopefully we can enable really soon. And then once crafting is fully in, then we can get fully in, we can go back and implement professions and buildings like the jeweler and the tailor and the weaver, and all of the professions that we shared back in devblog 26, I think it was. So that stuff is just queued and waiting for the mechanic to be in there.
Heading there now.
All right, now because we've got some new folks in the stream today, I think what we're going to do is we're going to load up the swamp map, and we'll actually have a look at where Sandbox is at the moment. So normally in the Hangout, it tends to be members of the community that are actively involved in creating maps. And because .got.gaming is hosting us, very kindly hosting us today, oh, I've just loaded the wrong map in. Let me just restart that. We'll go through some of the gameplay and just look at where Sandbox is now. Right. Okay, so the idea in Folktale is that you start with a very small team of villagers. Here are our little folks here, and we have to create a thriving fantasy medieval market town out of that, and go adventuring in the world, go and complete quests, although that's not in yet, find loot, kill monsters, that sort of thing. So let's start off. The first thing to do is actually to expand our population. So we've got 3 folks at the moment, but we've got no population capacity. So by building and completing a cottage, our capacity will go up to 5. and then our population will then start to expand. So new peasants will appear outside the cottage that we built. In Folktale, there are professions, so we've got various resources around the map. You can see we've got Fog of War here, so we want to actually start our first profession, which will be the blacksmith. I think it's called miner at the moment, the building's called smelt, but it will be renamed to blacksmith. And then the blacksmith, once we've trained them, we'll go ahead and mine iron ore over in the iron mine.
New villagers have arrived.
Now you can hear that we're starting to get more villagers arrived. Okay, so in terms of training,
Yes, my dear?
we'll have a female blacksmith. So we'll click on the building and we'll say, it says trained miner at the moment, it's trained blacksmith, and then our female miner or blacksmith will go off to the mine. And start extracting iron ore, which is then turned into iron ingots. Now, one thing I can do is I can either, at the moment, all of my production is diverted to the production of iron ingots. I can redistribute the split of that and put some of that effort towards research, and research will generate research points, which I can then spend on unlocking research. And research will give me either buffs or new items that I can craft. If I go crafting, I can't craft anything at the moment because I've not researched anything. So I've got my 1 research point. I want to research, let's say, plate armor.
We don't have enough iron to do that.
It's not iron, it's research points. So I need 5. So what I need to do, so I'm just going to quickly, let's divert everything into that, and we should get a lot more research points being generated. So while we're waiting for that, I will just go ahead and create another resource profession, which is this time the stone cutter. And the stone cutter will go and access the quarry and go and convert stone into stone blocks for use in construction. So while they're busy off doing that, so we've already got plenty of research points now. Excuse me, so let's balance that back up. And then if I go to research, I want to research plate armor. Now, plate armor, this has not been balanced at the moment, so plate armor is a bit more of a later game feature, but I'm going to research that. It says that we've completed it. We're missing all sorts of like notifications on screen and sound effects at the moment. But then that grants me access to the plate armor. Now, I haven't got all of the recipes at the moment, so I can only craft some of them. So let's say I want, let's see, we'll have 3 boots, 3 chests, 3 helmets, and 3 plate gloves. I've got plenty of resources at the moment. I can check on what resources that I've got. So I've only got a couple of buildings at the moment. Alright, so let's see how. Great, a stone cutter's been constructed, so we'll have a male stone cutter. He'll go off to the quarry. Just while that's going on, Daddio, 66. Are there plans to remove the cornerstones? Our Foxel's already answered it. He's saying yes, but I'm not sure about that. I think it might be something that I don't know, we might provide it as an option. Because I personally think it looks quite good, but other people disagree. I think I remember, I can't remember who it was exactly, but somebody said that it felt that it cluttered up his village a bit. So there are arguments on both sides. Alright, so our stone cutter's collected a boulder, and then that will get turned into stone blocks. I guess no research has been set up. In terms of the research that's available, it's specified on the website and the game guide. So if you go into the building, you can have a look at what the building does and also what it produces. I think what I want to do is I want some more population. So I'm just going to build a few more cottages, and I'm going to get a barracks because there are timed events in this and I'm going to get invaded by goblins. And I have a tendency to do this in the stream. I sit around sort of playing around and chatting and take my eye off the game, and then I get overrun by all sorts of beasties.
Building completed.
We are in the process of adding building animations, so this was the quarry animations just to start. So need some fixes, but they again are queued for implementation. So we've got animations for stone cutters, we've got animation for the blacksmith. So we've got like if I just drop down, you can see that we've got bellows, and we've got like a hammering machine. And there are newest animations anyway in the game that we're waiting to add in. Okay, I've finished
How can I help?
constructing our barracks.
New villagers.
Looks like we're going to have an exclusively female military. I'm going to train the arbalists, which are carry crossbows. We've got control groups, so I'm going to select them, press Control 1 to assign them to the 1 key. So now I'm pressing 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. If I press 1, it will select them.
New villagers have arrived.
What I want to do is I want to equip these guys, so I'm going to press the C key, or I could just click on the inventory, and then I'm going to give them each one of the items that we've crafted. Pressing the tab key, I will just flick through to the next arbalist in the group, and then tab again. Okay, and that will give them some armor. Right, so now that they've got some armor, I've played this map before since I created it, so I'm just going to send them over here. In fact, before I do that, I think there's a swamp beast that we need to take care of, so let's do that. Some deer, so the hunters will eventually go and hunt deer, which I'll build shortly. So at the moment, I'm trying to find this guy. Alright, so our arbalists took him out. Alright, so let's move those back to defend the key location while I get on with building some of the other things. Walls, I can build some walls, so let's build some, let's say across there. Maybe I've run out of resources. Let's try that, just cheat, put some more resources. Okay. So they're building our walls, so while that's going on, let's build some sources of food, because they're going to be getting hungry. So let's go, let's plonk it right down here actually. So we'll have a couple of fields for growing wheat in, and we want a windmill, so let's have a windmill as well. And then we need to train a farmer.
Building completed.
And I can drop down, in fact at the moment you can drop down into first person camera. So we can go and have a look at our folks.
Something to do?
Building completed.
And we can send her to go and become a farmer. Let's get these guys off her land.
What now?
Oops. That's why it's better to
Uh-huh.
actually select
All
guys
right,
in this
dear.
mode.
Yep. My
And then
pleasure.
the farm will go ahead. This will be removed in a later patch. So when I place the field down, it should remove plants like that. It's just this one's not been set up yet. Okay, so farmer is busy planting crops. I can change it, so it's the wrong icon, but we don't have a pumpkin one at the moment. So we can grow pumpkins, and that will provide vegetables that meets the peasants' need for vegetables. What we want to do is we want to get a supply of meat, because they need meat as well. So we will build a hunting lodge. Let's build that there. You see that when I placed it down, it cleared the land. Are they still busy building our walls? Perhaps. So let's build. I think. There we go. Let's move these guys up to the wall. Right. And what I could do,
Building completed.
is I could actually turn guard mode on, which would make them stay on the spot. So I turn on guard mode here, and they won't ever move from their position. So they will dutifully guard the walls. The problem with guard mode is that if there's anybody that
All right, right away.
has a greater range than them, then they'll just stand there obeying and protecting that spot. So I'll actually turn off guard mode for now. And what we'll do is we'll build some improvements up on here, on top of the towers. So we'll have some repeating crossbows, and they should help when the goblin invaders come. We'll just drop down onto our bridge. Now we've got our guys up there. There are no seasons in the game. We didn't include that feature. Instead, we're adding all sorts of other things like building upgrades and research and monsters and combat and magic and loot and all those cool things. Okay, so let's see what else we need. We need a fisherman. Actually, let's go ahead and start getting some brewing going. So we need the monks, and we need some bee yards. So let's.
We don't have enough gold to do that.
Oh, I'll cheat. Plonk some down. Because I'm cheating, it's speeding it up. Excuse me.
Building completed.
Okay, and then I go ahead. I can train a monk.
Building completed.
And then our monk, missing his drink prop at the moment, but our monk will go and tend to the bees.
Yes, my dear.
On my way.
Get
What
these
now?
guys out of the way. Should be able to hear and see the bees there. Here it goes. So he's collecting honeycomb from the bees. And then he takes the honeycomb back to the monastery where it's converted to mead. And what I should do is we should get a storehouse. I'll just block it there. Storehouse increases the amount of production, the amount of storage, so you can store more goods. It also provides for centralized distribution. So all of your production buildings will take their resources to the storehouse, and they will be collected from there.
Building completed.
And then we want a tavern. So let's have a. It's all right. Let's build a tavern in the centre of town. And they can go and buy the mead that was brewed by the monastery. Now, in a future patch, we'll be changing it slightly to with the addition of the well, so that water will be needed in the brewing process. So it will be mixed with honey from the bee yards, and that will become a resource. Wells will also provide for fire cover. So if you've got a fire, then villagers will be able to run to the nearest well. So you need to make sure you've got enough wells, otherwise you're going to get fires starting.
Yep.
And then at the tavern, we need to train
How can I help?
an innkeeper. All right, and then an innkeeper will walk just across the road to the storehouse and collect a barrel of mead. And she'll then carry that back to the tavern. Oh, I need to change the colour of the night sky in the swamp. It's one of my to-do things this week. Alright, and then peasants can now go to the tavern and get drinks. And eventually, you'll be able to hire heroes that you've met during your adventures from the tavern. Always asking, is the bazaar ready to be shown? I think it is actually, yeah, but I won't show it in this hangout because it's getting... actually, what time is it? Yeah, I've got to wrap up the stream soon, actually. So maybe in next week's patch. Not patch, sorry, next week's dev hangout. Alright. So let's go adventuring. So let's build... let's build 2 more. Where can I build that? Have I got space for that? No, there's water on the ground, which I need to... I've got no room. I think I need to remove these watery tiles in my map design to make it more playable.
Building completed.
Hunter Petrik's asking, if you play evil, can you have undead? So, the way that we're structuring Folktale is that in each biome, and by a biome we mean like the swamp and the creatures that inhabit the swamp and the architecture and everything, that comprises a biome.
Building completed.
Much like the snow zone is a biome, the lava zone is a biome. Each biome has 2 opposing factions, both of which will be neutral to you in the beginning. And they will offer you quests. So if you choose to perform quests for one faction, inevitably they will put you in opposition with the other faction. But it will be up to you which one you side with. Now, undead will be one of those races, so because there are, you know, skeletons and necromancers and things. And the necromancer is one of the heroes. If you help the undead, then they could... well, they'll grant you access to the undead hero, and they will have different personalities to, say, one of the nicer characters, and then you can combine those into adventure groups, which you can go take into dungeons, and you get the special abilities of those. So obviously, as a necromancer, they've got sort of the ability to raise dead, life leech, those sorts of things. And you get to play with them. So what you will be able to do as a hero, obviously you'll be able to select them. They'll be shown on the screen for quick selection. But they have special abilities, which we've not really implemented yet, apart from some of the earlier things we showed with the fireball. And I mean, there's healing. So I think it was covered in like the last... devlog 28, if you check that out, some of the special abilities in there. Anyway, the necromancer, you'd have access to their special abilities around here, and you can level up those as you gain more experience. So if you include the necromancer in your adventuring party and they're gaining XP, you can then spend that on special abilities and making them more powerful. So for example, Summon Dead level 1 might just might raise 1 skeletal warrior to fight with you, and at level 4 it might spawn higher. No, it might summon 4, or it might summon something more powerful. Right, okay, so the point was that we want some... let's get some more arbalists. How many have we got there? Just 2? Right, we need some more population. Now, in terms of finding out what your villages and buildings are doing, that's going to be added under the civics menu, but it's not implemented at the moment. Well, that will show you all of your characters, what professions they're doing, what their needs are. Alright, so we've got four folks here, which I can go and train as City Watch,
Building completed.
which are a heavily armed melee unit.
New villagers have arrived.
Bragaman is asking, can multiple people work on the same map together? You can, but there's no sort of merging together of... You can't work on it in parallel and then merge your stuff in together at the moment. Now, what we... it's very likely that we'll be adding is like a prefab system. And what that means is, in the editor, I'll be able to combine different pieces together. So let's say all of the Snow Monastery pieces, and I'll be able to save that out as a prefab, which gets saved to my library. And I could then share that with other people that I'm working with. And that could be merged into, you know, my friend could be working on the snow terrain. And then they could just grab that prefab and merge it into the scene. So there is, we can collaborate in parallel using that mechanism. Arbalist, have we got any more?
This building already supports the maximum
What about
number
this one?
of specialists. Yup.
And what about that one?
This building already supports
okay.
the maximum number of specialists.
Let's just grab our little army. We'll put those on 3, those
Something to
guys on
do?
2,
Yes, Petal. All right, my love.
and then assign all of them to 1. And then we'll go have a quick explore. Explore. You coming? Yep, chop chop. Let's go over here. I think there's some kobolds over here. Actually, let's move them back, because one thing that I do want to do is I want to change
Yes, my dear.
one of the city watch to
New
have a
villagers
weapon,
have arrived.
and I want them to have... Ah, they died. No. Alright, well, these guys are going to have it. Is it that one? That's the heal, isn't it? Now, which one? I want the amber.
New villagers have arrived.
Okay, right, there. They've got a healing aura on now, and then I want the one... That's the healing spell. Alright, and then one of them... I shouldn't really be giving them
New villagers have arrived.
staffs, but never mind. No, not that one. The other one. That one. Okay. Let's put you on 4. Now, they should... Their health should recover now. And if I get 4, I should be able to use some... what would be special abilities. Oh dear. Well, that... because they had no army, you see.
New villagers have arrived.
So that didn't last very long, did it? So let's take this guy and go up and have a look at some of the other areas. So there is a whole kobold camp here. But I'm clearly not tough enough to go in there with level 1 characters. Your characters do gain experience. So this guy, Taffy Muck Peddler, is a level 2 arbalist. So we've got some points that we can now spend. So we could spend those in agility. And then I'll also, if they had special abilities, I'd be able to level up their special abilities as well. So they become tougher characters. I was cheating there in terms of the items that have got the heal on it and lifesteal and everything. So we'll also be creating some dungeon kits. Now this is it's not really a true reflection of how dungeons will be implemented, but you can sort of mess around with what you've got at the moment, and you can create, you know, dungeon layouts. So that's one. Just going to open that chest, which will loot. We'll have that loot. Thank you very much. So you can create interior locations as well. At least for now. Until the dungeon kits arrive. Alright. So we've just touched on some of the aspects of Fake Tale. There are a lot more professions and buildings that have been produced that will be working their way in to the game in the next couple of patches. More loot, more monsters, more of everything, and then at some point we will be making a start on the quest system so that we can start to give the sandbox experience some context. Because at the moment, without any sort of tutorial to hold your hand, players initially trying sandbox can get a little bit lost and feel a little bit unguided. I can see just going up in the top of my screen some goblins coming in, so let's go and have a quick. And there's a bug here at the moment. Okay, and then these guys should start deciding to go and attack my village.
New villagers have arrived.
And then our arbalists that we put on our wall should start shooting as they approach. If they can see them, that is. No. So we've just got a line of sight issue at the moment that we need to address. Now these guys can scale walls. There's a little bit of a bug at the moment, so they will fall back down. But if we build, there are different tiers of walls. I don't know if I can upgrade these at the moment. Can I? Is it one of these? Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's jumped to the tier 3. The tier 3 is bugged at the moment, but so you start off with like wooden palisades, and you can build them up, and then you go to the next stage, and then you go to this stage, and then on these ones, because they're larger in stone, they can support heavier installations like trebuchet. So we're now firing trebuchet, and then the trebuchet, as you research them, you'll actually be able to unlock. Now the icons aren't done at the moment, but you've got Greek fire. So you've got the default rock, which will just throw boulders, and then you've got Greek fire, which is flaming oil, and you'll also, this is not set up properly, but you'll be able to research diseased carcasses and throw those. So there should be some interesting loot. We've also got the engineer class, who will be able to construct flame traps and goo traps, which sort of shoots out sticky goo, which is crafted from ooze from giant snails. And spike traps, and later levels, once you research gunpowder, cannon turrets as well. So they're a great way of sort of defending the area outside of your city walls. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's a big game with a lot of scope. It's understandable why some folks feel a little bit lost at the moment, but it is all starting to come together, and we are adding in more and more playable aspects to the game. If you liked the tutorial, which only had such a small percentage really of what the final game will have in terms of gameplay mechanics, if you liked the humour and experience of the tutorial, then you're going to love Sandbox. It's going to have questing and storylines in it, so much of the story feel that the tutorial had, that's going to be in there. It's a lot of work, it's going to take time, so just bear with us, but it is all happening. Yeah, so some of it's, you know, still buggy, like I said. So the tier 3 walls are a little buggy at the moment. You can see them sort of glitching. We've got damage in there, although they're... So this is just simulating when a goblin raiding party come. Once we've added in the goblin trebuchet, they'll actually be able to set up. So they might set up over here, the goblin engineers, and they might start pounding your walls, and they can eventually, you know, totally destroy. As I say, it's a bit bugged at the moment, these walls. I don't think I can destroy all those, but they'll be able to demolish your walls and invade. So yeah, lots going on, and lots more to come. Which monsters are in here? Let me think. We've got, we've got lots of spiders. In fact, let's just grab a load of guys and.
How can I
Be
of
right there,
service?
darling.
Let's go and have a quick look in here.
Busy, busy, busy. All right, dear.
They've got no armour and they're not military units, so I've no idea how